the impact is a whole week. One, need a clean arriving at least. So next week we are going to be presenting 2 papers on AI at an AI summit. And I'll be talking about how these image generation models used to have different limitations or used to work in a way that was not necessarily the best. For example, they had biases that sometimes went unseen and therefore undealt with, and how that obviously impacts our society because we start using these image generation models and we don't even notice that they have biases, and so these unconscious biases just keep growing, if they go unnoticed. So one of those papers is about that, and the other one is about bridging industry academia collaboration and how in the age of AI that becomes even more important because AI is impacting every role, every industry. It's really shifting how the job market will look in a few months, and a big impact in the next few years. So because of that, it's more important than ever for academia to try and keep up, to try and offer a curriculum that can really prepare students for the future. If I were writing an AI paper today, I wouldn't have chosen those topics. I would be talking about my concerns with AI because I'm very concerned about the impact that it will have on jobs, on youth, like the students, young people who are growing up with this technology in their hands. I'm really concerned about all of the negative impacts that AI will bring. I keep hearing people say like, oh yes, I've used AI. I ask everything to AI. I use ChatGPT all the time. Like, I cannot believe that people still think that they are informed about what's going on with AI just because they use ChatGPT all day and they ask everything to AI. Like, there is so much more going on beyond LLMs that you should be aware of. Also, the job market has changed. There are now studies trying to interpret the data that we have now. So, for example, the Anthropic study on the impact AI will have on jobs, like entry-level jobs and different levels of jobs. I think that's a starting point, to be quite honest with you. But one of the conclusions of that study was like, we are not yet seeing a considerable impact in jobs overall. Like, you could say that the hiring of entry level is slowing down, like you could say that, but overall we don't see this huge impact on jobs from AI. I understand the data is saying this, but I am concerned that the impact is even bigger than we're imagining, and it will come sooner and faster than we think. I don't know what your opinion is, if you have a different opinion, if like what you're seeing in your industry is not that scary or is not worrying you that much. I don't know. Like, I'd like to hear other opinions because I am very worried, but I don't know what other people are seeing in their industries. So anyway, let's go to prepare for this AI summit. Last year, I was at another summit about digital transformation and business and all of that. And I had written about the impact of AI and emerging tech, but mainly AI, in leadership and how leaders are running companies and how it is very important for there to be an alignment of like, this is where the company is going, and all of your first line or first level is on board with that, and there's like no back and forth and whatever. So I shared my point of view on how I think AI is impacting businesses and how I think that leaders should transform and align. When I presented that abstract, I just presented and shared my point of view, what I was seeing, what I had seen worked, and what I had seen did not work. Like I had seen that in real time. I was looking at these things happening, and so I was not talking from a theoretical point of view. I was actually talking from a very practical point of view, which I forgot to mention before I started presenting the paper. And the person that came after me to present, something that I really liked about the way she started was she began with why. She started with why she had written about the topic that she chose. So that's something that I'm taking into this summit. The reason why I chose these two topics are one of them, the industry academia collaboration. Like I'm seeing this huge gap in real time all the time. Like I have students who would come up to me and ask me questions that I'm thinking like, why do we keep having these questions? This should be solved the first semester of university, like, or why are they graduating and no one has told them A, B, C, and D before? Or why isn't AI in the curriculum? Why aren't they looking at practical things, business cases, like trying to develop skills? Why is the system so theoretical still? Meanwhile, I'm seeing like a huge shift and transformation in the industry. So it concerns me that academia is staying considerably behind. And then the other paper, the one about the image generation models, I chose that paper because I think now it's about 2 years ago, but like 2 years ago, I started using these image generation models, and I started noticing that it didn't matter which model you were using. If you would ask for like 5 images of a CEO and you would only say CEO, you're not saying male, you're not saying female, you're not saying any single word that suggests that you mean male or female, and still you would get 5 images, all of men. If you would say like investor, same result. If you had requested 4 images, you would get 4 images of men. If you would say financial expert, I need 3 images, guess what? You would get 3 images of men. And so I did this test with several models and got very frustrated at the results. And it was an experiment that at the time we were doing. We were trying to see like how can we contribute to this so it's not something that we just ignore and get on with. And I left it at that, like at an experiment. But last year I was at another summit or like research event, and these academic researchers were talking about similar problems with AI, not necessarily with images, but general issues that they were seeing with AI. And to my surprise, their proposal was users need to learn how to make better prompts. And so I'm thinking like, sure, we're going to put a product in the hands of millions of users, and then we're going to teach them all how to prompt properly, and that will solve the issue. So because I thought that this idea of like teaching users how to prompt was a bit like unrealistic or like not very viable to say the least, I thought like maybe I should take that experiment we had done years ago and turn that into a paper for this summit. And so that was what I did in the beginning of this year. Like I was not planning to do that until I went to that event, heard this idea that I considered 0% viable, and I decided to share my point of view and what we had tried to do some years ago. So that's why we're talking about these topics. We are mid-run and it's Thursday. exactly a week before this AI summit. So Monday, Tuesday, no, it's Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday were just about reviewing if the papers were actually in the agenda. Because guess who wants to look at the agenda with enough time to prep? And guess who didn't see two papers on the agenda? So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we were waiting for confirmation, and we got it until today. We have exactly 1 week to get 2 presentations done for this summit, and that's done pretty quickly when you have nothing else to do. But when you have a whole bunch of things to do, having 10 extra minutes a day is a challenge. So my idea is to take this as an opportunity to test an AI tool that can create 2 presentations for us. I was thinking about Claude Design, but since I run out of credits every 10 minutes, that's probably not the best idea. So finally on Thursday, after a whole week of not knowing if these papers were actually on the agenda, finally on Thursday, it turns out that they are on the agenda, which I am looking for right now. So both papers are on the agenda. We have first the one on industry academia collaboration and bridging that gap and what role AI is going to play on that and so on. And then the second one we have is around the biases of these image generation models. So we're presenting both on Thursday and still have to get the presentations done. Still not sure which AI tool we're using for that, because I don't want to use like the super generic tool that's going to give me something that looks like a very AI generated template with only text and the same layout that you see on every single AI generated presentation. So I'm trying to find a tool that will give me something that's a better output than that. I feel as if throughout this video, like as this video progresses, I just look more tired every single time. And the reality behind that is that when you're trying to get as much as possible done and trying to increase your output as much as possible, and honestly, what you are just focused on, or what I am trying to focus on right now, is increasing my productivity, increasing how efficient I am. And that's not possible by just, checking out at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Yesterday, I checked out at 2 a.m. I was learning about this very different industry from the space that I'm in, and it was very interesting because I was learning things related to the economy and how the economy is impacting that specific industry. I was learning things about market segments and so on. So it's honestly very interesting to look at what's going on in different industries, because then you get ideas to implement in your own space and in your own industry. So even if I look more tired as the week is progressing, it's simply because we've got work to do, and I don't want to take things off the agenda that I'm really interested in doing, like learning about this other industry, participating in this AI summit, writing this week's newsletter. Like, I'm working on an issue about brand building, which has taken so long because it's a topic that I really love. And so because I'm so interested in it, I get really deep into the details of it. I find myself in like an ongoing loop of just reading more and more about this. But then it gets to a point where you realize, like, just ship this. We cannot keep on working on this like so many more weeks. I need to publish this, or so many more hours. I need to publish this now because we have other things to do. So anyway, we still have to finish the presentations, and then next week we're going to the AI Summit, which I am excited about, because at these AI summits, or at these summits in general, where academia is very present, something that I really like is that people are very interested in everyone else's work. Like sometimes when you go to other events where it's just people from the industry, they are very interested in like sharing what they do and talking about themselves. Some people, not everyone. But when you go to academia or academic events, I find it that people are genuinely interested in learning about others. Like sometimes I get to share what I do, but most of the time I'm just listening. And when you listen, you get to learn so much more than when you're just like talking and talking and talking all day. So I really like these events because I get to learn so much and I get to share, but at the same time, it's not just like me going and giving a talk and that's it. I get to share and then get others' opinions on what I just shared and like maybe their take on it and what have they done similarly or what have they tested, what they think. You know, people are actually interested in learning at these events. So I'm excited. So now let's go get these presentations done. We have still 2 presentations to finish. I tested some AI tools and I'm recording this pretty quickly because we don't have time to record this today. So I tested some AI tools. One of them really stood out. It created a presentation similar to what I would have created, elements similar to what I would have used. It was not just like text and a simple image here and there. I'm not sure I'm going to use these presentations completely. I am probably going to use some slides, do some edits, change the background color so that it is similar to the background color of the template they shared, and use that presentation as a base, as a structure, and probably do a lot of editing, which I hope will be pretty quickly because we are running. We don't have a lot of time to finish this. It's 6:40 p.m. or past that, and we still have to finish both presentations. So this is how it's going. Still pretty much a work in progress. It is shocking to me that I knew about this summit and I knew that I had to create these 2 presentations weeks ago, and it was until today that I was able to get some work done, and I'm still not finished. It's clearly a very, very, very work in progress. So I tested some AI tools. Most of them I did not like. I thought that I was going to be able to use the output just to say I gave it to me, but I was not happy with the layout, not happy with not being able to export into PowerPoint. I know many people use Canva. I love Canva, but I know that I need to create this in PowerPoint because I don't know how I'll be presenting this. So if it were from my computer, I can use Canva. I don't know if it's going to be from my computer or not. But anyway, these papers are now very messy and I need a clean version of this. So it's 1:19 a.m. We finished our presentations last night very late and we're now arriving. So we're arriving at this AI summit. Let's go.